Chapter 11.11.11 The 1111th Birthday Feast, still written by Ben in black ink. Darling and her team had excelled. The feast was the best we'd ever seen, and it should have been too. It was for someone on the eve of their 1111th birthday. Everywhere we looked there was food, massive platters of fruit, enormous cakes, entire sculptures made from ice, sumptuous roasts, salads made from all the vegetables across the universe, lush desserts, and great big platters of cheese and bread. There were also the best juices ever, and chocolates shaped into every creature and thing you could ever imagine. My favourite were the giraffes and zebras using different coloured chocolates. Oh, and the bird-shaped ones that flew around like wild bees before zooming into any mouth they could find. Solo and Escher raced up to me to say that there was a van at the end of the beach with frozen slushies made from Noesis ice cream. It was too good. And then there was more music. Migal was a big fan of a band called Smash Mouth, and because of his fiery hair, he loved a song called Walkin' on the Sun. So that was the first one played by Decker and his mates. They'd set up the beach and were playing as loudly as they could. "Let's dance," shouted Migal. As he spoke, Stella flew in and grabbed Migal's hands, wildly leaping with him all along the beach, splashing into the water, laughing and spinning around. Next was Blister in the Sun, although they'd reframed it as Blister in the Sun for blizzard. Migal and Blizzard danced like maniacs until they fell into the indigo sea, wildly laughing. Looking up, we could see the Time Pirate, anchored way above us, its decks piled high with books. "Hey," called Blizzard, "are those our books?" "Of course," shouted Stella. "The super injunction. The time fairies are about to deliver them to everyone at Marescimar, and then we'll be going all across the universe to give one to everyone we can find." "Excellent," roared Migal. "And soon we're doing another one about enchanted chairs," shouted Stella. "It was my idea when I was Sky." "So good," yelled Sky. "I'm going to ask everyone what they want in their own enchanted chair to make them feel safe and happy." "The best," shouted Blizzard, grabbing Sky. I joined them and we twirled our way along the beach in a sort of ring that kept breaking apart and then joining back together again. There was a loud woof. It was Godot, his tongue hanging out and his tail wagging. With him were two little dogs. Godot telepathed, "I'd like to introduce Hazel and Buddy." "Oh, Hazel," yelled Minnow. "And Buddy, I've missed you." Blizzard and I clearly had no idea what was going on, but we stopped while Minnow nuzzled the two little terriers. Their large brown eyes looked naughty and happy. Frank suddenly realized what was going on and raced along the beach. "Buddy!" he yelled. "Hazel!" I'd not seen Frank cry so many times in one day, but he openly wept as he hugged both dogs. "They're part of Frank's family," whispered Minnow. "Hazel died a few years ago, but Buddy only went a bit before we met you. We love them very much and we didn't think we'd ever see them again." I nodded. I badly wanted a dog to live in our family, although I thought it would be best to have one like Godot, allowed to run free and just visit when he wanted to. All around us there was suddenly a lot of wild barking. I looked over at Blizzard. Molly and Panda were both with him. Molly rolled on her back in the sand, her mouth open in a huge smile, and Panda ran around and around Blizzard, almost falling over because she was moving so fast. Blizzard looked as if he was in heaven when he sat on the sand and nuzzled both of them to his chest. Without any warning, Godette, Fun, Gode, and Godot were with us. "One for you," said Godette, handing me a book. "And one for you," said Gode, handing Minnow a book. "And one each for you," said Frank. "Oh, sorry, And one each for you and Frank, said Godot, handing me 2 books. And one for me, said Fun with a smile. The Super Injunction, I said. By Stella Walker and Mitchell Blizzard, said Sky. That's you, I said, feeling proud of my little sister. I know, said Sky, looking happy. I love the cover, said Minnow. It looks a bit like my place. That's because we based it on your place, said Blizzard. It's Sky on the back, and the tiny little person near the sea, under the rocks, is me, and any child who's ever had a hard time. Minnow nodded. Your church is lovely, Blizzard continued, and your parents told me that they feel like your home wants to say, be at home with God, be at home with the universe. But so many churches and schools and orphanages have been really cruel to children. Minnow frowned. They have, she said, and I hate it because people think we're cruel because we live in a church. Why would anyone ever be cruel to children? Blizzard nodded. Families can be cruel too, said Stella, puffing as she and Migal danced up to us, especially when the time virus infects them. Minnow looked sad. Wish the time virus would just go away, she said. It will, said Sky and Stella together, and then they laughed and gave one another a high five. So, what's the message of your book? Asked Migal. Tell someone, shouted Blizzard. If anyone is nasty or cruel to you, what are you going to do? Stella stared at me. Tell someone, I shouted. And what if they warn you not to tell anyone? Asked Blizzard. Still tell someone, shouted Sky. And what if they'll hurt you if they do? And what if they say they'll hurt you if you do? Asked Stella. Still tell someone, shouted Minnow. And what if the person telling you not to speak is someone you really trust? Asked Blizzard. And you feel confused. It's them who's messed up, said Frank, not you. Exactly, said Migal. When the time virus gets involved, even your best friend could betray you. So what do you do? Asked Blizzard. Tell someone, yelled Frank. Someone's safe, I added. What if everyone is unsafe? Asked Sky. If the time virus has ruined your family and your school and everyone you know? Blizzard nodded, looking thoughtful. I've seen it happen, he said. At the very least, you must tell yourself they're all messed up, said Migal, looking serious. You must remind yourself all the time that what's happened is wrong. Every single day, murmured Blizzard. Yes, said Stella. We have a little chapter on that in the book. Frank flicked through his copy. Heaps of the pages are blank, he said. That's to remind you what silence looks like, said Stella. Blizzard nodded. If you don't tell someone what people like Thievel have done, said Blizzard, or Baroness Thieve, there'll just be blank pages in the book of your life. I nodded. I get it, I said. No one will know unless you tell them. Blizzard patted me on the back. Exactly, he said. But it's totally best if you tell someone safe. Decker and his mates broke into Blister in the Sun again. Blister in the sun, shouted Stella. Come on, enough talk about thievels and overloadeds and baronastards. Yes, yelled Migal. Let's have some fun. He took off down the beach, dancing like a wild man, and it made my heart leap with happiness. I ran onto the sand and joined Migal in his mammoth dance moves. Pretty soon we were all there. Near midnight there was a huge cake in the shape of Migal's old-fashioned wheelchair. It had 1,111 candles on it, and it was altogether perfect. Migal's big red face beamed as we sang 11 different happy birthday songs, and then he blew out every last one of those candles. After that there were fireworks, not smoky ones, but massive rockets that Jax and her team had made using their beloved physics of enchantment. The lights of the fireworks reflected across the ocean and up into the Noesis. That night the Noesis looked like a huge mirror. It was amazing to see everything below reflected back down at us. After the fireworks, there was a big hush, and then Migal boomed across the beach. Anyone want to ask a question? I don't want this party to end, so I'm staying up until sunrise. Ask me anything. There was hardly a sound, except for the waves gently lapping in and out. We were all wondering what we could ask when Minnow stood up. What was the hardest thing about not being able to walk?